Okay, we've got a requested topic today, and I want to look at. I've seen some clips and things of at the Davos deal, Klaus Schwab talking about a potential global cyber attack, and of course, that tends to be where these things are formed. Um, let's just look. Cyber attack, global cyber attack. Is this an imminent thing? And also an imminent thing. I said an imminent thing. Is this an imminent thing? And what do we got? Basically, what do we got? This global cyber attack. What do we have? It's the freaking temperance card. All right. Now, at face value here, the temperance card is talking about patience and wisdom and understanding and blending these two opposites, and then with an ace of cups on the bottom. Well, I should also show you this. The ace of cups is the actual bottom card of this reading, but as I have the deck here upside down, the queen of cups is also kind of poking out. That's a lot of water. That's a lot of water and cups cards. So at face value, I look at this and I would say no, because these cards are not, cyber attack, trauma, everybody dies cards. Now, with that said, all of the readings that I've done about World Economic Forum stuff, the Temperance card is the one that shows up. Um, and the Temperance, it's, gosh, it's so tricky because the temperance card is showing this like understanding and sort of a measured approach and balance and all of this stuff. And it's also true that the ace of cups shows up in all of the World Economic Forum, like the freaking new world order shit, the whole you will own nothing and be happy. The Ace of Cups actually does show up for readings about that. Now, at face value, I look at this and I would say no. This like global cyber attack event would not happen. But it is kind of cryptic that these are the cards that always show up in the World Economic Forum stuff. Now, as I have been doing these readings, there's something about the water itself that tends to show up in all of these. The attacks, like the all the fires that are happening at all of the manufacturing places and the train derailments and all of that. The reading suggests that it is meant to pollute the water supply. And I did a reading a while back to find out who is the real world controller, right? And the answer was water. Water is the real world controller. It is interesting that we have the moon here blowing a blessing down into the water because the moon affects the water to such a deep degree. And the moon itself, I've done some readings on that as well, and like the alien shit and all of that. So, oh my God. All right, let's just try to find out a little bit more about this. Let's look at the Temperance card and see what two things are being balanced. Okay, so we have a reverse Queen of Wands and the Lovers. Now, it's interesting because the reversed Queen of Wands has been showing up in some of these readings as well. It specifically showed up in the readings about the unidentified objects that the government was shooting down. And I was trying to find out, like, if there was an organization or something that was releasing these things. And the answer to that was a reverse Queen of Wands. So this is some group that feels like they haven't been properly acknowledged. At least that's how it showed up in the other reading. Now, here, if we want to bring this down to a personal level, the reverse Queen of Wands is still about feeling like you are not getting the recognition that you deserve. So, when the Queen turns upside down, it's like jealousy and manipulation and all of this stuff that comes out of someone who is prideful, who is not having their pride stoked. Now, on the other side, we have the Lovers. And the Lovers, I mean, again, we have the moon blowing down this energy, but to be fair, this is the Deviant Moon Tarot, so the moon is very present in these cards all the way through. Um, Combining the energies, reverse Queen of Wands and the Lovers. So the Lovers is very much giving yourself completely to a specific path. Okay, so I'm going to pull. So, as I'm looking at this, right, what I'm looking at is like a global cyber attack. And, it's basically meant to take down the power grids and all of this shit. Now, let's see if there is a smaller scale cyber attack. Because when I'm looking at this and I'm trying to find out if there's a global cyber attack, if this is a yes, it doesn't necessarily look like it's an apocalypse sort of deal. I mean, maybe everything would go down, but it would only go down for a short period of time or something like that. Let's see if there is a smaller scale, like one specific country or a couple countries, or something like that, or maybe even on a city level. Let's see if that is a thing that is imminent or in the works. And we get the Empress. Now, actually, when I'm looking at this, the thing that sticks out is the number 3. So there are probably, I mean, truly, how many cyber attacks are in the works is a huge number, right? But I'm talking about massive scale. So the Empress to me is actually saying that there are 3 smaller scale cyber attacks in the works. Now let's see if we can find out anything about sort of where these are happening. Right away when I see that 5 of Swords, I'm thinking Ukraine, just because I'm seeing the soldier and all of this insult and whatever. This is more of like an intuitive thing when I look at that. And maybe I'll do that for the next 2. Well, there's our Queen of Cups. And we have a reversed Knight of Swords. Okay, the Queen of Cups, the loving, devoted mother. Now, I could easily read that as Russia, as Mother Russia, and I could also easily read that as the United States, as it at least presents this image that they are like this mother figure that helps people around the world. So over here, we have the reversed Knight of Swords. So we've got soldiers present in 2 of these, and one of them is like this mother figure. So looking a little closer at this reversed Knight of Swords. So the Knight of Swords reversed is the guardian that has kind of gone berserk, like out of their mind. Try to find out more about that. We get an Ace of Swords. All right. So I honestly don't know which one of these represents which country, but I'm pretty sure that these 2 are showing the United States and Russia. So we've got the Ukraine, the United States, and Russia is what I'm reading out of these 3 cards as far as where the smaller scale cyber attacks are being planned. Now, okay. let's just look at a timeline um, between now and when and geez, it's more of the Swords family, the reverse Queen of Swords. So this isn't a timeline. It's not a set period of time as much as it is a trigger, or maybe a specific leader, right? Queen of Swords, very militaristic, I guess, in the way that she thinks. This is loneliness and anxiety, and she's kind of vengeful, and she's trying to take some shit out on some people. She's really good at doing that. Now, when the Queen of Swords is reversed, this anxiety and loneliness kind of gets out of control. Here we have a family. I mean, as I look at this, the Swords family are really being fucked with, and this is the militaristic states are being like tortured or manipulated. And as I look at that, I'm thinking maybe like North Korea, right? Or some sort of militaristic state. But the Queen specifically has me thinking that there is probably a woman as the leader of this country, and that would be the one that actually releases the attack. So a woman as a leader of a militaristic country. And again, this is not a timeline. This is more of a trigger. So offhand, I cannot think of anything that fits into that. But I guess we'll continue to see what goes down. Now, hold on. In the case of a massive cyber attack, so let's look at, I'm an American, so let's look at the United States. I mean, would it mean that the country is fucked, or would the country be able to sort of recover from it? And the card we get is the Devil. Obsession and possession. Possession specifically is the thing that it would cause the United States, as if, the soul hasn't been sold already, then that would already happen. I mean, looking at this on a grander scheme, especially when I see the Devil there, and somewhat understanding the economic situation of the United States and of China, this would probably show finally belonging to China. But, you could argue that that has already happened. And you could also argue that, they're probably on the same side anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So we get the Devil. All right, let's look at a European country, right? If there is a cyber attack in a European country, I was recently in Bosnia, let's say Bosnia, would the country be able to recover? And we get the reversed Magician, and so the Magician is showing the master of many skills, being this great performer. When the Magician is reversed, either they haven't mastered any of the skills, or like this is not having confidence in themselves. So on one side, for America, we get basically becoming possessed, and here it would be like a lack of self-confidence. And I mean, not really having the confidence to show the skills that you have. Now, I mean, just because what would make actually more sense would be Serbia, since I just said Bosnia. So let's just pull a card for Serbia, and what we get is a Seven of Wands, and this is coming out of an old restriction. So of all three of those, it looks like that specific one would be able to pull out of it the best. Now, let's look at Russia, because that is, one of the countries that seem to be the thing. So we get a freaking Two of Cups in Russia, and let's look at Ukraine, and we get the Fool. So the Two of Cups for Russia is like opening up a new moment, a harmonious moment. So for them, it also doesn't look like it would be the end of their government or anything. It would be a new combination. It would kind of force them to be open to a new thing. And with Ukraine, we get the Fool. And the Fool is a total new beginning, like a totally new deal. I'm pretty sure there have been cyber attacks already in Ukraine. Um, but with this sort of new world order shit, it does look like Ukraine is kind of where it's one of the chosen places of the putting into place, the battle, right? And the putting into place of this sort of stuff. But a massive, like, countrywide cyber attack there, it would kind of reset Ukraine to a completely new beginning. And this would say that their government would not survive one of those things. And I mean, their government is pretty fucking new anyway, right? And that makes sense because they haven't been an independent country for that long. When the other countries, I mean, with Bosnia and Serbia, they also have been in various forms, you know, but they haven't been independent countries for that long either. Um, all right. Well, let's just look at what we are missing here. As far as the cyber attack goes, what is missing? And we get Three of Swords and an Ace of Wands. So the Three of Swords is heartbreak and betrayal. And I guess this shows that the response would come out of some sort of betrayal. And the Ace of Wands, this is a new beginning. It's the sort of energy that you love and care for as though it were a baby. It's like a new source of inspiration. So, I mean, this is probably true with most modern world governments, but if they did end up having something that fucked them over pretty hard, that would open an opportunity for it to be rebuilt in a better way. And I kind of see that here. Now, this also fits in to the World Economic Forum stuff that they're talking about. Like, if they were able to reset each world government, then their agenda would just be this global thing, right? Um, and this does kind of look like that. But here it would be a country that would very much believe that they would not be the target of one of these attacks, but they would be, and they would be betrayed, which means that they would probably be aware of the whole situation to begin with. Okay, well, this is good and bad, right? The good news is when I just look at the global scale cyber attack, the cards that show up, while they're a little bit cryptic, I'm still not reading them as saying there's going to be a worldwide blackout. Now, there are a few smaller scale blackouts. It looks like that are being planned and will probably happen. And I guess time will tell. We'll see if or when any of these things happen, but hopefully within each individual, each of us that are seeing this, right? And hopefully within each individual, we have the ability to create our world around us. We have the ability to create a protection, to create a safe space around each of us individually. Even if the world goes to shit, all we can really react to or be responsible for is that which is immediately around us. So hopefully we will be able to keep that power and make sure that we ourselves are safe and like living the kind of life that we're trying to live, even if the world goes to shit around us. And may that be so. So that's what we have for now. I would love to hear, any interpretations that you have on this or any of the questions or whatever. That's it. Peace.